G'day, mate. Welcome back to Oxygen Included with me, JD. We're on episode 48. Yes, 48 episodes. And we're getting towards the end, to be honest. I was actually hoping, thinking the series would be done before, 2020. But turns out we're going to go a couple of episodes over. So, in this episode, first off, I want to point out that finally we've emptied out the Great Water Pit in the south. Both Great Water Pits have now been emptied. This one we filled back up with oil because this is where all our oil's coming from. But on this side, yeah, we've like slowly got rid of all the water. There's a little bit left here that can be mopped up. It was mopped up, and then the dupes went emptied in these bottle emptiers that were going down here and going to the Great Water Pool to be mopped back, to be sucked up, but that doesn't work anymore because the pumps have run dry. So I've just put a little pitch pump up there, and we're just going to drop it into that little area. But yeah, there's some wetness, there's some damp, there's also, it's hot. The whole base is basically hot. We're down at 70 odd degrees down here, we're at 60 up here. This side of the base is cool because this is where most of the heat went, or the cool went when the natural gas exploded everywhere, which we're still waiting for it to slowly settle down the map and then get sucked in by these bilge pumps, really, because that's what they are. We've got two over here which suck out all the carbon dioxide that ends up on this side of the map, and we've got one over here that sucks out anything on this side of the map. Honestly, this just needs to be moved as low as possible. Put our knot gate down there. That's going to be hard to automate. Sure, that works. So yeah, we're just waiting on, the pumps to sort of suck up. Whoa, you'll need one of them, which will probably require one of them. So yeah, we're just waiting on these pumps to sort of suck out, basically create some sort of, what? Nope. You've got to go into that side, which is going to require one of them, which is going to require... Come on, game. Yeah, the game's got, the series is coming to the end because the game's really got to the end. I clicked power, I clicked build, and it had to load the power overlay, which led to a 10-minute wait. If I haven't loaded the liquid overlay yet, I think. If I click that, it's going to take, it's going to sit here. It's going to think about it for quite a time before it finally goes, oh yeah, I've loaded that for the whole map. So the game has been pushed to its limits, basically. I'd say I'm not limited by CPU, but basically I am. I cannot throw any more horsepower at this game to speed things up. So yeah, that's where we're up to down here. It's hot. The rest of the map, unfortunately, is also hot. 50 odd degrees, 40 degrees. It obviously gets hotter the further down you go because we are pumping some cooler air up the top. But even then, we've got this spot up here of 70 odd degrees, which is just probably this little bit of insulated pipe that is sedimentary rock and ceramic, so it's pretty good. We've got obsidian through here. It's just these pipes just dumping heat just a little bit, but they are dumping heat into the surrounding atmosphere. And we don't have any sort of active cooling on the base because we were on RIME, and this definitely looks like a RIME map, right? Everything was frozen to start with. Everything has been severely heated up. We did shut off our hatch production last episode, and it looks like they have all finally died off. And it looks like that's dead as well. So we're at the point where we're not going to have any more hatches, which is great. Because it now means... Where are we? That can all go. That can go. That can go. And that can go. That can all go. That's meat being shipped out. That needs to stay for a little while longer. These guys can go. Actually, you know what? Deconstruct buildings. Everything in that area can go. And that area. And oh, we found a hatch. I'll see you in a minute, son. We'll just finish this. Fixed. Nope. Oxygen not included. Yep. You guys don't see it, hopefully, but my start bar's permanently down here, and I can't fix it. So yeah, all those hatches can go. Automation. That could all go as well. Yeah, last hatch. Last hatch. Kill him off. There's actually one up here, but he'll get flooded shortly. He's stuck in a door, so at least he can't attack back. So yeah, we've basically superheated the map. Some of that has to do with like the obscene amount of artwork that we've brought in here and just dumped like hot from space straight into this section of the base. But a lot of it has to do with just the pipes that we have running everywhere. You know, we've got what's a good example? We've got 50-odd degree water coming into our base, which is heating up our base, which is probably a bad idea. Do we have ceramic again? We do. We do. Insulated ceramic. There to there. You guys have sucked in the wrong liquid. Oh, ages ago. We have like, these are cooling pipes at 37 degrees, which is cooling down this area slightly. Really just enough for us to grow plants. But, you know, we have cooling pipes running right beside heating pipes. Yeah, it's a bad combination. That's like hot water at 80 odd degrees running right beside a insulated cooling pipe at 60 degrees. Yeah. We've sort of pushed this base right to its limits. On top of that, I'm a design flaw, I guess, is because I didn't have a central base where all the duplicates lived. I had this the sacrificial duplicates living over here, and then oh boy, nope. Pause again. And then the acolytes living over here in finery with, you know, beach chairs and wind tunnels and soda machines and hot tubs and giant statues and decor out the wazoo. That and nice food with like nice mess tables. Like the whole works. These dupes were really pampered. Because of that, I didn't have any sort of central atmosuit spot. Which, originally when I was planning out the series, I was like, no, I'm going to put atmosuits up here and we'll just have these dupes in atmosuits. But it meant that the bad dupes were trying to run their way out to space, because every single time I load the game reverts the door permissions to default until I actually click on them and refresh them, and then it sort of calculates them again. Which just meant that I was having issues with dupes going out and getting fried that shouldn't get fried. So, yeah, like I said, we've really run the game to its end. Like, even loading this, which is not okay, but pretty cool. I froze something to death. I brought something down to 6 degrees Kelvin. Like, this takes forever to load. And because I've deleted all the past history, hoping that would speed things up. Like, these bars are gone. These are only for like last 5 cycles, because that's all the information the game has now in the save file. Everything. We close that. If we go to colony report, I can only go back a couple of cycles. Everything prior to that's just deleted. It's gone. Because it was slowing the game down. Not a lot, but every sort of little thing helps. So, what's happened? We set up our petroleum generators. Now, our petroleum generators are up in space, which is great, because all the CO2 that they generate is coming down here. It's either flowing out the door or out through this hole at the bottom corner. But the catch was, it's actually so hot in here, we're basically making steam. like, all the water that they're outputting is turning straight to steam. So I'm like, well, let's just put a steam turbine in the room. Let's just shove a steam turbine over here and we'll dump the water out here. And maybe the water will disappear. Maybe it'll turn back into steam. I really don't care. And it instantly failed because the steam turbine built in space overheated. So one thing I want to do this episode is I want to dump some supercoolant on the floor. And the other thing I've done is I've started rearranging the pipes in here to run just a little bit of radiant pipe like that to cool that down. Which now means I need to tap into the supercoolant running through here and possibly add more supercoolant to this loop. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 60 kilograms. Or I could leave the loop 6 tiles short, which is also a possibility. But yeah, we got hydrogen, liquid hydrogen set up last episode, so that's now running. We're producing a heap of liquid hydrogen. In fact, because it's tapped into our main hydrogen storage all the way down here, which has 5 tons per tile. We have no problems whatsoever with hydrogen. We're good to go. In saying that, our oxygen supply, different story. If you remember, this was full up to about here, and then has since slowly dropped down lower and lower and lower. Basically, I got myself into a situation where we're actually using oxygen faster than we're pumping oxygen into the room, because we're only pumping in 1 kilo per second, which we're instantly liquefying. I really want 2 or 3 kilos per second. But I didn't plan this ahead well enough to have enough spot, well, to have extra vents that I could access. So that's also going to be potentially on today's list. I simplified some of the pipes. Now we have more materials. So the steam loop was all bridges. It's now just a solid ceramic pipe. Our liquid oxygen is now in a solid insulation pipe. So it's going to run all the way along to here, which, funnily enough, might add some cooling into this room, possibly. Have we dumped off supercoolant yet? Nope. We need to sweep that the hell out of there. Yeah, you don't have anywhere to put that. We're going to put down a storage bin right there. Inaths, you're going to drop off my supercoolant. Yes, I'm dropping supercoolant right on the floor. That is going to be our cooling for our steam turbine, which, as you can see, instantly kicked in because the steam is down here is at 40 kilos at 129 degrees, which is enough to power this thing up. Okay, so once you've finished emptying, we're going to deconstruct you. Okay, somebody picked it up. Okay. Don't worry about building that now. So that means I need to seal in... no, that's a liquid pipe of insulation. So we can actually do that. And quick as that, we're done. Oh. I'm going to lose some supercoolant. Yeah, we're going to evaporate some supercoolant off to space. I can access my pipes. Yes. Yes. And yes. Yeah, there's going to be a gap in this line. I don't even think I'm going to bother fixing it. Because these two aqua tuners are doing a great job. I sort of wish I'd moved the vent to the middle of the room. And honestly, I could get in here and fix it. I just don't know if it's worth the time and the effort. Sorry, I got alarms going off. Super coolant, 10 kilos, 7 kilos. I don't know. Somebody's screaming at their screen right now. 400 grams. 160. Come on. There's no atmosphere in here. We really want this one built, actually. 400 grams, 300 grams. Come on. Done. And unfortunately, sandstone ends up on the other side of the build. But that should be fine. So yeah, because we're... There's no atmosphere. Hang on. Gas overlay. There's no atmosphere in here. It is a pure vacuum. But since we're running supercoolant in a pipe into supercoolant in the ground, which is then making thermal contact with the steam turbine, it's going to cool the turbine down to like minus 240 odd degrees. Which should be plenty enough to keep this cool. It might actually break this. Let's set you to minus 259. Because there's a lot of hydrogen there that wasn't there previously. There we go, liquefying again. Yeah, because we're adding heat just as it comes past here, which is like the worst spot to add heat into the system. Maybe I broke this. I don't know. We'll worry about it later. But yeah, this is just going to produce just more power, more free power. Because frankly, I don't care at this stage. And whatever excess steam is just going to be vented out to atmosphere, because I've now decided I really want to make all future power plants in space because it's just easier. Anyway, so yeah, I need to add more oxygen to this room, which is going to require cracking into here, which is going to require preferably not having any carbon dioxide get into the room, although I have a feeling it's probably going to happen anyway. If we crack in from the top, we have the lowest chance of carbon dioxide getting in. So that's what we're going to do. And basically, I just want to do that. I just want 2 more gas vents. I want to take this gas pipe, which I really want to change over to an insulated gas pipe, and have that run there, that run there, that run there. And yeah, we're going to deconstruct that and deconstruct that. And then I'm just going to have the dupes lower themselves in. Now, it's probably going to let some oxygen out of the room. And I don't think I care. In fact, I know I don't care. We want a ladder there for sure. And a ladder there. And it's also going to mean those disappear as well. So yeah, we want the dupes to get in here and get that done. At the same time, we're going to do a follow the water pipe. So this water pipe comes from here. This water pipe comes out of here. It goes down to here, which is using potentially 3 kilos per second of water to give us 10 kilos per second of petroleum. At least I think that's right. Hang on. Well uses 1 kilo per second to give us 3 kilos per second of oil. So yeah, we're using potentially 3 kilos of water down there. We're bridging off and going up, and we're going into this build, which is 4 kilos over 4 electrolyzers. So what's that? 3. We're up to 7, and then we've got the last little bit going into here to run our steam generation to keep our steam rockets running, which are probably the hardest working rockets I've ever had, because these guys just go back and forth and back and forth. And why for you not launch? Launch path blocked. Because the game's having problems loading, so it's not always loading the automation correctly, and occasionally rockets go through the bunker doors. As can be seen here, and here, and here, and here, and here. There's nothing we can do about it. honestly, I'm considering just removing the bunker doors. Like, this one needs it for the gantries, but these all don't. These could just be holes in the ground that we could just fill up with asteroids left, right, and center. Maybe in the next playthrough, that's how we're going to build our rocket silos. With just no doors at the top. We're just going to take a pounding and it's fine, and then we can have dupes come in here. Actually, I think I like this method, where I can just, like, open the doors at the bottom, which now not opening. There we go. Ever so slowly. Like, that sort of delay. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I click these, I change these over, they should open instantly. But yeah, I think I like this method. We're going to put in walls, and then we just have a couple of bunker doors at the bottom that we're going to open and close every now and then, whilst there's no storm, that we see that there's no storm manually, and then just dump the material onto the floor where then the dupes can deal with it. Also means I can put some water down here and I can absorb the heat out of all the material and maybe make free steam. But yeah, if I change that back, you can see, now that I've loaded the automation into the game, it loads pretty much instantly. Or it works pretty much instantly. Anyway, so we're using, what did I say, 7 kilos? And another one of these would use another 4 kilos of water. But I'm going to build one anyway. So we want one of them in their entirety. Actually, we want just the bottom half. How do you get power? You get power from burning hydrogen. Now, I'm happy for you to burn the hydrogen, because I don't really need to ship it off. Okay, so we definitely want that half. And it's whether I want to burn the hydrogen or ship the hydrogen out. Or whether I want to build a half-size one. That's another option. I could build a half-size one, and because we don't have quite enough water available. Basically, I want the oxygen. That's all I really want out of the build. The hydrogen I really don't care about. Alright, where's our grand power overlay? That's all used, that's all used, that's mostly all used. You need a dedicated 2 watt, plus you need just a tinsy-wincy bit more. Okay, so tinsy-wincy bit more I can get off this power line. I can't get anything off that. There's no way I can get anything off that. Although, actually I probably could, because you just run Atmo suits, which don't run very often. And you need a dedicated power line. Okay, so we're gonna copy that level. Paste that on top. I think we're gonna run this from outside power. So that water's gonna go away. That water's gonna go away. We're gonna put in a bridge right there, and that'll be our water intake. Cancel buildings, that and that. Ventilation overlay, we've got 1 pipe comes out there, 2 pipe there, 3 pipe there, all done. Hydrogen pipe doesn't do any of that. Honestly, is going to come straight out there and jump onto that. Which now means scaffolding. Lots and lots of scaffolding. All down there. So, this is going to be the big duplicant construction task for this episode. This is already done, so we can seal that back up. And this will potentially give us 3 pipes of oxygen. But I have a feeling we're not going to use 3 pipes. Well, we already know with the limited amount of water we're putting into this, I'm only going to get like 2 pipes out of it, if I'm lucky. Okay, can I come... That's a natural tile. That's a natural tile we can dig through. So, ceramic piping into the first one. Ceramic piping into the second one. You know what? Oh, they might get underwater. Let's do that instead. And, oh, we're also going to need a dedicated power line, which means coming over here and going, hey, 2 more transformers, 2 more heavy watt wire, 2 more lead power lines, or 1 more lead power line, right across the whole map, into... you know what? We're going to keep everything in neat rows into there. And you go into there. Which is again going to mean a whole map's worth of scaffolding, along with scaffolding all the way across there. Get to it, dupes. Good luck. So yeah, that's going to be today's major building project, which will potentially I'll worry about this gas pipe. But yeah, that's what the dupes are going to get done. On top of that, the rocket's going to keep launching non-stop. We've now sealed this up, so that can go away. The polluted water is like, as you can see, 104 degrees. It turns into steam at 120 degrees, and like everything in here is like very, very close to 120 degrees. So it's generally just turning to steam. Once it's steamified, maybe the steam turbine uses it, maybe it doesn't. And maybe it provides some cooling. Maybe it's just getting dumped out the bottom as like carbon dioxide and steam and whatever else. Frankly, I don't care. That's what I love about this. Where, like I said, definitely all future power projects are going to be built in space. So I just don't have to worry about the off-gassing. The slicksters down here, I wouldn't say are worth my time and effort. The only advantage they've really provided me is I can move hot space artifacts down into this room and sort of delete the heat by putting it into the carbon dioxide. That in theory the oh, nobody's bothered to deconstruct that. In theory the slicksters like consume that heat. Oh, that pipe's got to go so it can be reversed. Okay. And that carbon dioxide's going that way. Okay. So yeah. In theory, that's really the only advantage they give me. That they consume some of the heat or some of the carbon dioxide, which has heat in it. But honestly, like, we've got a cheval farm. We've got a cheval farm up here, which already has the automation added for it to ship out the food. We're shipping regolith into it. I haven't bothered hooking up the second rail. I sort of built it most of the way over here to do something. But there's just no need. Because they're all wild, they don't really even have to be fed. The only advantage I have in feeding them means that I basically delete the regolith. That's all they're providing for me. So, yeah, they're really a regolith deletion device. And they're probably the only advantage of having the doors up here. It means I actually get less regolith on the map, because anything more than 2 tiles high just gets destroyed automatically. Like all the regolith that's landing over here just gets destroyed. Like there's I don't know, what, 1,000 cycles worth of regolith over here, and like that's 18 tons. Well, no, 1.8 tons. Had I left it open like over here, like there's 25 tons. Most of these have started forming second tiles because there's just the sheer amount of regolith over here is ridiculous. And it's all really hot regolith too, so that probably doesn't help. So yeah, you know, the only advantage these guys are doing is that they're consuming. They're consuming my regolith, but it means that, yeah, I've had to put in infrastructure to feed them, and if I patted them to make them tame, they'd eat more faster, so then I'd have to feed them fast. It's just not worth the hassle. This is our meat farm. This is it, self-sufficient. Best thing is that any new chevals we get, eggs automatically get dumped in here. Dupes don't have access to the room. 100% self-sufficient, and I can just walk away from the problem. Actually, where you ship to there, which is the main conveyor line, you drop the meat down to central storage, who then picks up said meat and puts it in the box. Yep, still picking up meat. Still picking up more meat. They drop a fair bit of meat. I see meat down there, but that could be a dupes assigned to pick up that piece of meat, or not. I don't know. Which actually means if I come in here and I can say consumable ore. Oh, wrong button. Whatever I pressed was definitely the wrong button. It's not consumable. Organic. Eggshell. I can also ship out all the eggshells that are in this room. In fact, I can say, hang on. All except critter eggs. Oh, and filtration medium. Eggshell, eggshell, eggshell. Eggshell. 7 kilos of eggshell. 8 kilos of eggshell. They have some sizable eggs. Some gold amalgam from removing this and replacing it because the first one cooked. That's polluted dirt, which, let me guess, you can't quite reach. So whatever ends up this tile, I can't reach, which means I'll never pick up. But yeah, all I've done is just add a little bit of atmosphere in here, which is enough to sort of mitigate the heat a little bit and heat up everything around it, which means dupes should stay away. But Al is determined to do what? To walk right over the top because you're an idiot? Oh, to build that one bit of... you're an idiot. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to put in a cut. I'm going to let the dupes get this task done. I guess these other tasks are priority 9, so they'll supersede a lot of this, but, you know... oh, that's already done, so we want to disconnect that. Nope. Disconnect that in. Sediment. Nope. There to there. Oh. We're gonna want just a little bit of pipe. Just to dump the early mix of hydrogen and oxygen out of this system out to the atmosphere and then deal with it after the fact. Well, hook it up to the mains after it's pure hydrogen. But yeah, I'm going to put in a cut here, let the dupes get on with it. Unfortunately, I still can't run the game faster than game speed 1 because, well, I can, but the dupes just spend a lot of time standing around not doing anything. I think 50 dupes was maybe too many. I think I should have probably stopped at 30. I guess lessons learned for the next time, or we just build a smaller base, a less complex base. With definitely less pipes and less vents and probably less conveyors, because like I heavily automated everything, but yeah, I think the game says no. I think the game says no very hard. So yeah, we're going to, where were we? Control 1, Shift 1. Yep, we're going to put in a cup right here, and I'll be back. And we're back. It's been half hour in real time, and I don't know how many cycles. Running everything at single speed is painfully slow. Anyway, we're just booting up this electrolyzer, just trying to clear out the last. There we go. A little bit of oxygen. Now we copy those settings from that electrolyzer from there to there, which should stabilize. This guy should only get hydrogen. These guys should only get oxygen. Pipes are clear, so we're going to deconstruct that, deconstruct that, deconstruct that, build in our walls, build in our, get rid of those, get rid of those. And after the last little bit of oxygen gets out of this system, we can then hook the pipe into here, and we should be good to send more oxygen into this system. Almost. We just set that to be deconstructed, hook that in there, and just use the pliers tool. Gas pipes, all of that. Steel vent gone as well. So, we have this oxygen pipe, which is going to run up into this vent. We have this oxygen pipe that's going to run into this vent. And what I actually did is I just took the excess off basically this pipe and just pulled it down and ran it into the third vent. It should provide us plenty of liquid oxygen going forward. At the same time, this system, even though it's running off the mains, should be perfectly fine. We're just pulling a little bit of power from here and here, and why do you have no power on you all of a sudden? Current load. Oh no, it's just off. Okay. All these guys are off temporarily. Well, there you go. Our forge started to overheat, so I've had to put in some radiant pipe here to take some of the temperature away from the molecular forge, because it's getting hot too, it turns out. Basically, everything's frying in the base. Slowly, bit by bit. At the same time, we went and, if you remember, we did this at the start of the episode. Even though I'm using mafic rock, it turns out it brought the temperature of the steam down in this room. And that heavy watt joint plate is definitely not helping. Yeah, maybe a small oversight. I can put the joint plate over here. Actually, better off going through the roof. Which, of course, the dupes can't reach. So yeah, it cooled down the steam in this room. We've gone from 100 and something degree steam to all carbon dioxide at almost 100 degrees. So my mafic rock definitely didn't work. We need to swap that over to insulation, which is such a waste. But yeah, it's the only way we're going to be able to run this if I want to keep running this. I'm starting to think maybe it's a horrible idea. That's going to have to be insulation as well. Power overlay. Deconstruct. Actually, we just, no, we'll run that in there properly. Deconstruct that. Which may lead to some supercoolant leaking out. Possibly. But yeah, we've got more oxygen in here, which should hopefully provide enough oxygen to keep our rocket system going. We're doing at least 3 kilos, if not 3.5 kilos per second of liquid oxygen. I actually looked at this guy, and it's only got a last 5 cycles, it's got a 37% duty cycle, so it's not running full speed. If we look at some of these other guys, like, you know, 26% duty cycle, this guy's limited by how quickly we actually get rid of the steam. That's what limits this aqua tuner. But like our liquid hydrogen, like 33% for last however many cycles, 75%, because it's on the hot side. This is where we actually bring in the reasonably hot hydrogen at 40 odd degrees. So yeah, it all depends on where they... Oh, good trick. Can we actually put the insulation there? What is that that's liquefying? Carbon dioxide is solidifying. Yep, it's carbon dioxide. Solid carbon dioxide. So yeah, we'll whack some insulation in there. We'll hopefully build all this up. See whether it works. How the hell am I going to get dupe in there? I'm going to deconstruct that. And hopefully... Nope, it's letting the supercoolant through. Which is going to... will eventually evaporate. No, supercoolant's valuable. We'll mop it up. We'll do the right thing. But yeah, if I deconstruct that tile and definitely that tile as well, yeah, that should let the dupes in here to build these power connections. And how am I going to get supercoolant back in there? As long as we've got more than like 10 grams, we should be fine actually. We need the smallest amount for heat transfer. Alright, it's all Priority 9, so yeah, that's running fine. This is now running fine. It's fully powered up. We're going to dump the hydrogen out of the system, dump the oxygen here. We're pretty much good to go for next episode where we try and make our last rocket. That tile? You know what? I'm going to make the next rocket silo there. I have no idea how big this rocket silo is going to be. Because, yeah, this is going to be the last one. It's going to be the one to launch us all the way to the temporal tear. All the way out here at 1,800 kilometers. So we're going to have to build a hydrogen rocket, load it with liquid hydrogen, load it with liquid oxygen, waiting to disembark. Launch path blocked. Are they opening or closing? They're closing. You're full. You're full. You're full. Launch. Does that override it? How much cargo is available? Yeah. Setting up 2 cargo wagons is enough to deplete planets. Setting up 1 cargo wagon is perfectly fine. Actually, do I have any other options? No. And we were just going out there to get fullerene, but it's sort of pointless getting fullerene at this stage. Our gas giant, we still haven't worked out what's in the next slot. Because we sent out 1, which gets us nothing, basically. We need to send out 2 or send out 5 to work out what these items are. So if we go to... see how we've got 1 set of question marks here? When we send out 2 research modules, we'd unlock what these question marks are. When we send out 3, we'd find out what this one was. This one requires 4, it turns out. That one's 3. That one's 1 or 5. Yeah, I really wish I'd put a bit more planning into our space rockets, or into our research rockets, and made sure they were set up to do research as properly the first time. But unfortunately, weight-wise, research module is 200 kilos, and everything else, oh no, space sea, I could swap it out with a sightseeing module and just not put duplicates in it. Liquid fuel tank. Oh, liquid fuel tanks are actually really light, so I could put in fuel tanks rather than research modules and send them out empty. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm going to end this episode here. We got basically this done, setting us up for the next episode, which will be episode 49. It will be the last episode of the series. maybe by then we will have killed off a few more duplicates. I don't know. I highly doubt it, actually. The duplicates have been far too resilient at living far too long. Doesn't matter what I do, they sort of live no matter what. We did suck half the thermal heat out of the map. I'm actually, one thing I'm going to do between episodes is slide this over one tile so it gets 2 vents in. This one tile to get 2 vents. That one tile to get 2 vents, and you're just stuck. And same with this guy, I'm going to slide him over to get an extra vent in there. And probably this guy to get 3 vents? Yeah, 3 vents in. Because, yeah, these have been a good source of power. The only thing I've had to do is I've had to actually put in their own independent cooling, which is weird, because we're using 1.2 kilowatt. We're getting back 5,000, 1,200, 1,400, 1,600, almost 2,000 watts from running 1,200 watts. So it's like this system here is like 800 watts positive. Now that we've actually had to add dedicated cooling to it. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed, as always. And I'll see you guys in the next episode, the final episode of our Doomsday Cult. All right, bye.